One of my passions is coffee. It's something I consume every day that many Americans do as well. Coffee in particular undergoes a fermentation step, and my specialty is in fermentation. Just like a lot of fermented products, there's an art to it, and you can do it very poorly, very well, but no matter how you do it, you are going to get a product at the end. It's just going to taste different than you might expect. And knowing what it is that you're going to get and managing the expectations for the consumer is a big part of what makes that industry successful. I would like to know, what are the extreme ranges? If we don't ferment at all or very limited versus extremely heavy with, say, a lactic acid bacteria and some wild yeast, how different can we make these? Once we have that established baseline, then we can really begin to narrow in and say, okay, what if we control this growth? What if we elongate the process? How can we make this overall more efficient to the betterment of the final product? If you adjust the fermentation step, it's going to play with some of the parameters, but even those are going to be influenced by how you take the next step. There's a drying stage, then there's a roasting stage, and finally an extraction stage before that gets to the consumer. At each point, there might be months of time in between where all of those can be manipulated further. So the next step from my research is bringing in the fruit from the actual coffee bean, and by taking it from the very beginning, performing the fermentation at different levels and monitoring the bacterial growth progression through those fermentations, we're able to leverage that to really get a good idea, okay, from the raw bean, under these conditions, this roasting regime, this is what you're going to expect. Under this very different regime, this is what you're going to expect. Then the next step after that is begin to fine-tune it to application. We want to know how these changes that we see at the fermentation level are actually translating reliably into the final stage. If you just give an unprepared consumer a very different product, they're probably not going to like it. But if you can explain to them what it is to expect, they will appreciate and be willing to pay a premium for it and ultimately be a happier consumer. That's what we're looking to do with a lot of our craft industries, is expand the knowledge base of how we can describe, how we can control the process, so we can make more options available to the consumer. That will help grow the industry, help educate the consumer, and drive demand for these unique products.